hearts laid bare, battle scars we all still wear. Through the storm, through the fight, searching for hope in the dead of night. No more hiding, no more shame. Face the fire, call the name. Lessons learned, stories told. Rise again from the ashes cold. Tuesday Talk, light in the dark, where the book can find their spark. Tales of pain, but we still stand side by side, hand in hand. Tuesday Talk, light in the dark, where the book can find their spark. Tales of pain, but we still stand side by side, hand in hand. Shadows whisper, demons call, but we refuse to lose it all. Every fall, every tear, built the strength that brought us here. We are warriors, we are fire, turn the hurt into desire. Not alone, never lost, one more chance no matter the cost. Tuesday Talk, light in the dark, where the book can find their spark. Tales of pain, but we still stand side by side, hand in hand.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday. It is time for Tuesday Talk, and we have a special co-host today, Matthew Sean Miller. He is a former U.S. Army infantry grunt who did some pretty incredible stuff over at the Battle of Cobb Keating. He is now a member of Team Fast Tracks. His season has kind of slowed down a little bit, and he's going to join us today as a co-host with Tuesday Talk. So thanks for joining us today, Matt.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This is going to be pretty cool, man. I'm really happy that you're doing this. So thank you very much. We are live on YouTube. Got about a 15-second delay from there to here. So if you're watching live on YouTube, we're about 15 seconds ahead of you. Try to remember that. I cannot seem to get into I cannot seem to get into the chat this morning for some reason. So if you're trying to chat me on the YouTube, can't help you today. My apologies. Not sure what is going on. We are going to have a pretty big show. We got Mark Clements coming in from the WardBurtonWildlifeFoundation. He is the development director for Ward Burton Wildlife, and we have a big event this weekend known as the Crush 250. About 30 late model stock car drivers from across the country, some big names, some NASCAR winners going to be racing down there in South Boston, Virginia this weekend. Thank you very much to them for having us on board with them and sharing the story of Save 22 and the mental health of our veterans. So thank you very much to the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation. Mark will be in here shortly. We're going to wait on him. But first, let's talk about what you and I had go on this weekend. You and I had the incredible honor of being in the presence of, I think it was 8 Medal of Honor recipients.
7.
There's seven.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, one of them. I think ended up getting ill, so he couldn't attend.
Yeah, we were with the PatriotProject, and I got stuff going off in my headset. The PatriotProject started by Dr. Tim Novelli, chiropractor here in Canton, Ohio, about 15 or 16 years ago, I believe it was. He started this in the hopes of taking chiropractic care to our veterans and our nation's heroes, and he does it at no cost. And now, today in 2025, there's over 5,000 chiropractors joined in his network, offering the free services to our veterans and their community. So one fundraiser a year is all the Patriot Project does. He brings in his board members, which are Medal of Honor recipients. Clint Romisha was there, Mike Thornton, Doc Ballard. We had some other distinguished guests. I got to hang out with Michael Jernigan. That's a story all in itself. I don't think we're going to put on YouTube today, but Matt knows it. Knows it. But I want to talk real quick about how the weekend was for you, because you have a unique experience, and that unique experience is that you served with the Medal of Honor recipient Clint at Cobb Keating in that battle, and you arrived a whopping 48 hours prior. Hey, T-Bone's up. Thanks, brother. You might have missed it, but we don't have chat capability today for some reason. I don't know what happened, but I can't chat back. So if y'all want to get a hold of me and you got my number, text me or do it on the old ticky-tack thing there. So yeah, that's what.
And I got the chat up on my end, and I can.
Cool. Matt's got the chat. Great. Matt's got the chat.
That's why you brought me on.
It is why I brought you on. It's been getting difficult with one person. We're getting some activity, and I don't have enough people to do it. My boy Hutch is up. Hutch was at the Patriot Project Ball, or the Patriot Ball this weekend. But I wanted to talk about that real quick, because you and I met about 4 months ago or so at an IHRA event. I think it was Milan, Michigan, right?
It was Milan. Yep.
And that was Lex's first win in the United States. It was a rainy weekend. We didn't get a lot of racing in. We had to go till Sunday. You ended up having to leave. You didn't get to be part of the races and things like that. But I think something kind of clicked in between the two of us. Like, I don't want to call it, love at first sight, but us veterans can talk like that. Something just clicked. And I wanted to ask you, what was it, before we get into the Patriot Project this weekend, what was it about Save 22 and our organization that really kind of drew you to us?
Just the camaraderie that you're bringing, and bringing the word to the civilian population and to the military population that we're not going to stand for veterans, being part of the 22, and we want to change that aspect. And I have a big, heart for our veterans and for the ones that are battling with the post-traumatic stress, as I have battled with it as well. So just what your organization stands for is phenomenal. And yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. That's like the Kevin Hart commercial with LeBron. What did that touchdown bring to the locker room? Everything.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It was really great. It was really great having you down there. You got some unique experiences, got to be right up and close and personal with Lex and Gerda and the entire team. You saw some engine warm-ups. You got to interact and mingle with the team simply by showing up, right? And that's one of the things that we at Save 22 really, really recommend. Get out of your head and just show up to these things, right? Just go show up, go be uncomfortable for a little bit, because in the long run, you're going to wind up comfortable, right?
Like one of the things that crossed my mind the other day, and I wrote it down in my phone because I wanted, I'm going to write a big thing about it, but our actions have consequences. Yeah. They can be good, they can be bad, or it can be a mixture of both. And so my actions on, becoming, going to Warrior Weekend to Remember, and becoming a part of Team Fast Tracks, that has only, increased my visibility and what I do as a veteran and for the organizations. It's just given me, a platform, and if it wasn't for me being part of Team Fast Tracks, you and I would never have met, John.
That's 100% correct, Matt. That's 100% correct.
So the consequence of me going to Milan, Michigan to do this event with Team Fast Tracks and the IHRA is, I'm sitting here with you on TuesdayTalk, and, and so you always have to take that chance and that risk of putting yourself into a very uncomfortable situation.
Ooh, I just lost all my volume. Stand by one.
We can still hear you.
Just lost all my volume. Are you serious right now? That's great. All right, we're gonna go back onto the headset. Sorry, but now I can't hear Matt at all.
Chat, if you can hear me, make sure you just let us know that you can hear me and it's not just me. It might be the Air Force veteran that doesn't know how to work technology.
Really?
Oh, so you can't hear me.
I got your back.
All right.
Good.
So like the consequence, if it wasn't for me doing, being involved with Team Fast Tracks, we would never have met, and I wouldn't be sitting here with you on the Tuesday Talk. If it wasn't for me going to Warrior Weekend, I would have never have known about Doc Novelli and the Patriot Project, and I would never have been given the opportunity that I was this weekend.
Right. So, in that, right, what would be your message then to the guy that's sitting back here with an angry attitude, fighting the world, and I don't need no therapy? Like, there ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I ain't coming to your dumb event. What would be your wording to those guys?
My professional opinion is that yes, sitting behind a desk or sitting on a chair talking to somebody that has a PhD, has no real life experience. That's not the person you need to talk to. You need to talk to individuals like myself, John, and other combat veterans that have been in the thick of the thick. That's where you're going to get your most enjoyment out of life, and you're going to learn how to cope. Because what John went through with his experience is a completely different route that I went to handle my experience.
Right.
So you have to be willing to at least take that step forward and say, hey, this is my problem. What can you do for me?
Right. And I want to be clear. We cannot do anything for you. Correct. You have to make the decision to be better, right? You have to make that commitment to yourself. You have to discipline yourself to be better. You have to learn how to talk to yourself. You have to learn what those emotions are that are going. But what we can do is share what we went through in the hopes that it helps you, teaches you, educates you, gives you another tool for your toolbox to utilize when the triggers come up. And I don't like buzzwords, right? I don't like trigger. I don't like trauma. I don't like PTSD. I don't like any of those words because I think those are all just human conditions, right? My experience with pain is not the same as your experience with pain. You got blown up by an RPG. That pain's got to be way different than breaking my back, right? It's just different, right?
You felt that. I didn't feel mine.
You didn't feel it. You heard it. You said
I heard
it.
The whistle. I heard the whistle, and when I when I finally came to and everything, that's when I realized I was hit. And I had Specialist Delaney with me, and he's like, Miller, you've been hit, and so we do the quick interior search of the Kevlar, and come to find out, I took the the blast to the left side of my body. But I didn't feel it. Where you probably
didn't feel
your back. Right.
No, I didn't. I felt that much. And then for I don't know how long, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever, I laid there. I couldn't feel anything from about my hips down. I couldn't move them. I couldn't do any of that. I guess it's called temporary paralysis due to shock. And it wasn't a mental shock. It was a nerve shock. They weren't connected at the time. I mean, they're connected. They didn't break. I'm not permanently paralyzed, but the inability to move is a scary moment in life, especially at 19 years old, right? I mean, it's just different. And
absolutely.
Were you 22, 23?
I was 23 at Keating.
You had just gotten there 48 hours prior, and all of a sudden you're being just this full-on assault of 400 or 500 Taliban jerk-offs, and it had to be something for you, right? So your trauma is a little bit different, but the feelings and the emotions are the same, and that's what I try to convey to these guys, right? We had an experience, I don't know if you heard about this, down in Atlanta, where I saw a Navy guy in his pea coat and a Gulf War veteran or Iraq vet. I don't remember what the hat was, but Albert and I walked over to him. He was in the Derek Cope pit with those guys. Derek Cope does a lot for military families as well, and NASCAR. And And this individual was part of that experience with Derek Cope that weekend down in Atlanta this year. And as soon as Albert and I walked up to him and started talking to him, one of the first things he said was, I didn't do near the stuff that you guys did. I was only on a sub. And it irked me like right off the bat, because I used to say that stuff. I used to say, I didn't do what you did. I don't deserve it. Right. I didn't do it. I was chair force, and T-Bone will attest to this. You know,
Irvin said the same thing.
Yeah, we in the military community will always bust on each other, always, 100%.
Yep.
But when the chips are down and you need what you need, we will be there, whether it's in wartime or back home. And that's what's important. It doesn't bother me anymore. It used to a lot, right? Because I was disappointed that I didn't have the full combat experience. Let's just be honest. I didn't pull a trigger. I didn't get blown up. I joined to go to war. That's what I did. I joined to serve and experience all the things that I had seen on television and the stories that I had heard from other veterans, and I wanted to be part of that. So I chose to be there. When that guy down in Atlanta said that to me, it kind of really hurt, because I know what's going on in his head, right? I have these feelings, I have these emotions of inability to fit in, and that I didn't do enough, or that I wasn't as badass as these guys. And I let that go for about 15, 20 minutes. And I looked at Albert, and Albert looked at me, and he said, uh-oh, you're going to go talk to him, aren't you? I go, yeah, I'm going to go talk to him. And I walked right up to him, and I told him, I said, you said something that really kind of irks me. And I want you to know that you have no idea what Albert and I did. You only see the struggling, let's talk, Save 22 vet. So you assumed that he and I have these incredible war stories. And you have no proof of that. You don't have any idea what we did. All you know is that we're standing here right now, right? So don't downplay what you did, because whatever we did, we couldn't have done it without you, and you could not have done it without us. So stop downplaying your commitment to the war effort simply because you didn't do what you think other people did.
Well, and in my opinion, the guy has bigger balls than I do, because I would never get on a sub. There's no way in hell you could put me into a tube.
That's what I told him.
And say, you're going to go hundreds and hundreds of feet deep into the ocean. That's terrifying itself.
Right. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It was offered to me at 18, and I said, no, thank you. I'm not going to do that stuff. No. And you know what? We made a choice, and we all made a choice. We made a choice to serve in the capacity that we could serve in. And that's the most that we could do. Right. Who's that? Oh, yeah. T-Bone. Living with the threat of imminent harm is more damaging over time than dealing with the threat of getting past it. Yeah. Whew, man, you're not wrong. And T-Bone and I have talked at length about this. You're constantly making 911 decisions. You're constantly making life and death decisions, right? For yourself, for others, whether you're in the air, on the ground, fixing an airplane, manning a post, shit, dude, even getting the mail at Bagram, or Tikrit or Talil or Kirkuk, or, wherever you were, right? There was always the imminent threat. It was always possible. And when you come back from that, we're going to talk to Dr. Sean Capper in a couple of weeks. He's doing Sean's been a dear friend of mine for about 15 years. He has the distinct pleasure of knowing me when I first got back from my last deployment, which was my most combat intensive deployment. That's when I was a flyer and flew into Iraq, Afghanistan, and all over the Middle East. A couple continents in. I got sucked right back in over there. Did you see that? Stay on point. Right. He has the distinct honor of being the one to educate me on what happens to the body during situations like that, and how, as a man with testosterone and other things inside your body, how living on adrenaline like that can really have compounding effects when you're out of that situation. So his education, my education from him, it was pretty paramount in me getting better. And it's taken some time and understanding and more education and things like that to really realize that we were really living in an environment where death could have happened at any second. And
yeah, and and they've been doing a lot of studies with fire departments and EMS agencies, because the bells go off, and so you're sitting there you're watching TV, or you're taking that little snooze nap, and the high pitched loud alarms make your body go from 0 to 100, and so right in the split of a second. So that increases your blood sugar, that increases your heart rate, that increases your
adrenaline,
everything. Adrenaline,
yeah.
And so all that remains very high for a few hours, because you're battling with the call itself, and so by the time you start dwindling down, another alarm comes in. So now you're sitting at 70 beats per minute, and
Right.
the alarms go off again. Now you're back up to 150. And
Right.
so when you do that over and over and over again, you go home physically and mentally exhausted, even though you didn't really do a whole lot. It's because your body is battling all of this at one time.
That's a hard thing to understand, right? For me, it was, why do I not have the energy I had before? Why do I not have, I just can't go like I used to go. I can't seem to get, I don't have the endurance. I don't have the strength. I don't have the mental capacity to handle this problem that I'm dealing with right now. Whatever it is, the laundry, the cooking dinner, the fixing the truck, the cutting the grass, whatever you have to go work, right? A work assignment, home, kids, school, sports, all those things. I didn't have the capacity to deal with it, and I didn't know what to do about it. Right. That was the hardest one, because you don't know what's happening to you. Well, I'm having some issues with the old ticky tack here. But, Hutch, thanks for listening, my brother. Really appreciate you. I know you're driving over the road, probably up there in New York. So thanks, my friend. Really appreciate you listening. Hopefully I get to see you tomorrow. Trying to understand that part of it is I think what is the hardest part for so many of us, because it was always just a suck it up, move, suck it up, move. You don't have time to think about it. You don't have time to think about it. And now that we're here, we're not in a war zone. We're not under constant attack. I think our brains create the chaos. There's some studies out there that will say that when you're living in that kind of a chaos and it's not there anymore, you start creating a chaos in your brain. It's not real. It's not legitimate.
Yeah, and speaking of chaos, and so in my PTSD lecture that I teach, my favorite slide is chaos is quiet, quiet is chaos. And people sit there and kind of look at me and they're like dumbfounded, because they're not really sure what I'm talking about. We need chaos in our life because we're so used to chaos, and that it makes it quiet for us. But when it's quiet, that's when the true chaos really causes us problems.
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely.
And so, for me to control that chaos when it's too quiet is music. Music is my outlet, and I have YouTube music on 24/7. And so that keeps the demons from running in my head. There's some songs that kind of make me feel sad and everything else, but I go to the next song, and next thing you know, I'm dancing around.
So I want to talk about that real quick, because do you have a, music wise, right? Do you have a type or a, oh, hey, look, Mark just joined. Can we get back to that? We're going to talk about music here in a little bit. Yeah. Mark just joined us in. I'm going to call Mark in here real quick. I'm going to leave a little note. We're going to talk about music and genre and what it does to you when you come back. I didn't know you were a teacher. That's pretty cool, man. All right. We are going to bring in Mark Clements, the development director for WardBurtonWildlifeFoundation. And there he is over there. Mark, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you joining us this morning. I know you guys are busy getting ready for South Boston Crush 250. So thanks for taking a little bit of time today with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no problem. We got Matt Miller here. Matt Miller's joining us.
Hey, Mark.
We met Matt a few months ago. Purple Heart recipient, member of Team Fast Tracks, and he's trying his hand at podcasting. He wants to do a podcast, so we're going to bring him in over here and see what happens. So
there you go. Thank
tell
you so
me
much.
all. Yeah. Hey, tell me all about the Crush 250 this weekend, my friend.
Man, we have it's gonna be a packed event for us first and foremost. The Burtons in South Boston, Virginia kind of go hand in hand. So it felt very fitting for us to bring this the second time doing this event to our roots. But I mean, it really goes back to our cause, which is spreading the great word of our conservation work and spreading our conservation work, not only throughout the state of Virginia, but nationally as well, but also to really highlight some of our veteran programming and our outreach programs we do. We work a lot with veterans that they're suffering from PTSD, and we host them, we expose them to the healing power of the outdoors. So that's what this event and most of the resources of it's going to is go back to our to the foundation so we can continue to grow our outreach platforms and our conservation work.
Yeah, we're really happy and very proud of all the work that the Burtons have done to help our nation's veterans. I got to spend a little bit of time on down at Daytona the last couple of years, and 10, 15 minutes tops. They're busy, but Ward has said there ain't another family in NASCAR that does more for the veteran community than the Burton family. And from what I've seen in the last 2 months of dealing with you guys and getting all these things straightened up, I'm gonna agree.
Yeah.
The things that they have offered us. The joining, the partnerships, the exposure, the putting us in the rooms with the right people, just absolutely incredible, and couldn't be more grateful for this opportunity. So how many racers are we going to have down there this weekend?
Well, we're going to have a 30-car field. We're still getting some entries since we're going to have some qualifying. So we may have some folks that go home as a result of Saturday. But, I mean, we're going to have a great class. We're going to have obviously Jeb, but we're going to have some of the region's best talent. Virginia, North Carolina, some of the best late model drivers in the country. So, it's going to be a big field. A lot of guys that run at South Boston Speedway on the normal basis. So, Jeb may be at a little bit of a disadvantage because these cars are very different than Jeb races on every weekend. So. But Jeb is a shoe, and he's talented, and I know he will get adjusted quickly. But it's not going to be easy for him either.
No, it's not. It's not at all. And some of your partners are very, very involved in all aspects of the Ward Burton Foundation. Are there any you'd like to shout out for us or for yourself today that have really been a big contributor to Ward and the Ward Burton Foundation?
Well, I'll tell you, the State Water Heaters has been a partner of the foundation, or been a partner for the Burton family since 2007. And they've maintained that partnership since then. And they've been a great partner with us, both on the racing side and on the foundation side. They sponsored our Clay Shoot Challenge earlier this year. They've obviously sponsoring the Crush event, but also Rogers Heating and Cooling. They're a local partner based in South Boston, Virginia. They were our presenting sponsor last year and the first year in the and when we did the Crush. So it's really cool for us. Like, we're going to have a national company sponsoring this race, but we're also going to have a local company sponsoring this race. And that's going to be kind of the theme of the event with the corporate activations going on. You're going to see everyone from the national, Save 22 to the National Center for Healing Veterans, or Healthy Veterans, excuse me. And then we're going to have like a Peanut Patch is going to be there. That they do the boiled peanuts, and they're going to have a band there as well. So we have a lot of partners that are not only bought into the cause, but bought into the event and trying to make a strong impact and a strong impression for all of our attending fans.
Man, I'm really excited to come down there, man. State Water Heaters and your local people. You've connected us with the local AMVETs, so we're going to give away 25 general admission tickets to the event to veterans out of the AMVETs. That's going to be really cool. We've also partnered with you to offer 3 rides to veterans with Daytona 500 champion Ward Burton. I'm bringing one of them with me personally. He's going to be a Save 22 advocate for that entire weekend. So Andy, if you're listening, you just found out what my surprise was to you, because I kind of let it slip. So I apologize, my friend. But, being able to be there the day before, to not only be there for the event, to spread the awareness and partner up with these guys and just have those meaningful conversations about what other people are doing around the area, around the country, to help veterans, to support the conservation of our great land here in the United States of America is really truly an honor to be partnered up with you guys. I've been a fan of Ward and Jeb and the entire Burton family pretty much as long as I've been alive. I remember those guys way back when, with Bill Davis and the 22 car, and the Daytona race, and the interviews with Ward, and he don't pull no punches, and I really love that guy. I really do. The commitment that he has to be the best that he can be has really been passed down to his family, his kids, and everybody that he impacts, and it's really great to see.
100%. Yeah, he and Jeb are very similar in a lot of ways in terms of their work ethic, their determination. They both have, Ward's obviously been very successful, and Jeb has been very successful too. And he's only, 32 years old. So
he's a young guy.
He's got a lot of life left, and he's done so much for his age. And I'm excited to see what he can continue to do, both on and off the track. But going back to with Ward, I worked in NASCAR for 9 years before joining the foundation, and Ward has always been really great to work with, and he's exactly what you see is what you get, and
what you see is what you get.
He's so authentic, and I love that about him. And also, and this kind of ties back to a big part of our veteran outreach programming. So when Ward was racing, this is towards the end of his career. He was with the State Water Heaters team, Morgan McClure. It was at Indianapolis, 2007. Ward was, it was either at the end of a practice day or end of a qualifying day. He noticed a veteran that was, he was paralyzed, like he lost some limbs and things like that. And Ward just noticed the guy and immediately felt sympathy for him. And Ward took it upon himself to go reach out to the guy, go and, meet up with the guy and chase him down and say, hey, what's your name? What's your story? And he found out his story. And then Ward worked with Tony George of Indianapolis Motor Speedway and got that guy into the pace car and was able to give him pace car rides before the race. And that just goes to show how big Ward's heart is. A lot of the NASCAR guys, it's very easy for them to well, I got an appearance to do, or I got a team brief to do after this, or I want to go to the hotel and kind of, or my RV and kind of lay low. But Ward took it upon himself to make sure that guy had a good experience. And then Ward kept in touch with him. And then Ward flew him out to South Boston to take him to the outdoors. And then Ward told him to bring some of his friends with him. And Ward tells the story a lot. And when he picked up from the airport, the gentleman did not speak much. All of his other buddies were talking, and they're like, "Oh, we're hanging out with Daytona 500 champ Ward Burton." For him, and the guy was pretty quiet for the beginning part, but by the end, Ward said, "I couldn't get a word in because the guy's total mindset changed, his outlook changed. He was excited, he was happy." And I mean, I'm sure he wanted that weekend to go on, but that was when it hit Ward's I need to do this more often. I need to do this more frequently. So that's what led to our veteran outreach program, where we do host a veteran American Heroes event day in early May, where we host about 80 military veterans and take them clay shooting, fishing, pretty much an adult field day. But also we do it throughout the year. We've partnered with Wounded Warriors, and also with your group as well in December to expose them to the outdoors and spend time.
Hey, we can't talk about this just yet. The legal stuff's not out. You can't talk about December just yet.
Well,
Hey, so we just teased that a little bit, but go ahead. I just wanted to bust on you a little bit there. We haven't confirmed that just yet, but yes, it's happening. Go ahead.
So yeah, but like that's kind of dates back to how this whole program started, why we're doing it today. But also it's a natural tie-in as well with a lot of our work that we're doing on the Reppy side and the ACUB program, where we're protecting the military buffers outside of the military bases. Like that's another core reason why we do this as well. So Burton family is all for veterans and very, very patriotic. And to your point, there's no other family that does more for the military than the Burton family. And I can assure you of that.
Well, I'll tell you, I took a chance at Daytona in 2024 and just walked up to him and I introduced myself and told him who I was and the organization. And the next thing you know, I'm hanging out in Jordan Peterson's pit and Jeb's up there and him and I are having a snack inside of the trailer. And 2 years later, here we are. And as Mark just alluded to with a little teaser there, we have partnered up with the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation and Save 22 to offer 2 veterans a once in a lifetime experience. I believe it's a 3-day, 2-night event. We're going to give them the outdoor experience to go hunting with Ward and Jeb Burton. And my understanding is it may even be aired on their outdoor channel show. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it all up, and we're excited to have you all, and I know Ward and Jeb are both excited as well. We're most importantly excited to see you this weekend too. Yeah,
this weekend's going to be pretty amazing, man. We're gonna launch that hunt with Ward and Jeb around November 12th. We're still working our Coastal Carolina beach shares are being auctioned off, and those will stop on the 11th, and we'll start on the Ward Burton Jeb Burton hunt. We don't have a date just yet. It's going to be towards mid to late December when we do this, hopefully not too close to Christmas, and we'll be able to get a couple guys in there. We're not quite sure how we're going to announce it and make the pool of selectees, but we're going to get all that worked out. Riley and Mark are going to get that worked out for Save 22 and the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation. So that'll happen here shortly. We just lost Mark's signal, but
I'm back.
The joys of live, ladies and gentlemen. There we are.
So John, how does people find out about the Ward Burton Foundation? Where can we go to get that information?
Well, we just lost Mark. So Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation is online at WardBurtonWildlifeFoundation.org. WBWF.org is one way to get there. Mark, we lost your picture and your connection, so thank you for that. If you can get back on, we'll have you come back in and see where you're at. All right, Mark, we got you back, but no video for you, so we've only got your audio.
That's all right. You got me now?
I got your audio.
Yep, we'll
take your audio real quick. How can people find out more about the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation?
Well, you got to follow us on all of our social channels, the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation on Facebook, Instagram. We're always posting content of what we're doing. But to find out more about how to get involved and how to donate, go to TWBWF.org, which is the WardBurtonWildlifeFoundation.org.
Yep. TWBWF.org.
That's correct.
I just put that down on our.
Now, Mark, is this open to any and all veterans, or are you looking for combat wounded, or what's the stipulation for to participate?
Yeah, so when we do our Veteran American Heroes event day in May, it's open to all participants. We've done stuff with like Paralyzed Veterans of America, Wounded Warriors Project, various different veterans organization, Project Healing Waters as well. For that day, it's pretty open to all. If you want to do something that's more intimate, it's more for the group, we would just have to connect and coordinate all those details. But we want to reach all veterans, and we want to make sure that they can understand and see the healing powers of the outdoors.
Yeah, we're really
Absolutely.
excited about that. You know, we had a outdoor/nature program for a while there. It kind of fell to the wayside. We're standing that back up, and we're really happy that the Ward Wildlife Foundation is helping us do that and raise more awareness of how the outdoor diversion therapy can really be beneficial to some of our nation's veterans. And we couldn't be prouder and honored to be partnered with you guys. So, Mark, I
And
know you're busy. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm actually on my way to pick up, and this is kind of another cool thing for the event. I'm about to pick up 300 miniature American flags that every kid is going to get once they come into the facility at South Boston Speedway this weekend. We are going to have a very patriotic pre-race. We're going to have the Halifax County High School marching band there doing the national anthem. We'll have the ROTC presenting the colors. We're gonna have a AJ transport truck doing like a holler lap that you see at like Talladega Super Speedway before the race, and it's gonna have an American flag on the back. So we're putting a lot into this from a programming standpoint, and we're excited to see it all come to life. But to your earlier point, it comes with a lot of work and a big checklist. But we have a good team, and we're excited to showcase the facility and showcase our event.
Well, we're excited.
Mark, how much pull do you have with the NASCAR and to get to get things involved in the race coming up?
Hang on, can you repeat the question?
Yep. How much pull does your organization have with the NASCAR to get events or to get people or organizations involved into something like this on the weekends?
Well, we work with NASCAR quite a bit in the past, especially like through our veterans program. But yeah, I mean, certainly reach out if you want to learn more. We'd love to partner with other organizations and to continue to grow our outreach. Yeah, in terms of pull, I mean, we definitely have a relationship with NASCAR. We've worked with them, but yeah, obviously they make their own decisions with a lot of those things. So we can certainly try to be a resource, but we don't have a lot of, I guess, pull, if you will. But we do have a good standing relationship with them.
And the reason I'm asking is because this organization and what you're doing for our veterans and the community, it sounds like something that we could try to team up with Team Fast Tracks. And if you're not familiar with Team Fast Tracks, we're a skydiving performance team, and we've jumped into a handful of NASCAR events. And this is something that we could coordinate with and see if we can get 1, 2, 3 skydivers in the air. With an 1,100 square foot American flag, or even a 2,000 and a 5,000 square foot American flag, to kind of show that patriotic stance as well.
100%. What are you doing at 2:30 on this Saturday?
Well, right now with the government shutdown, we won't get into the politics, but with the government shutdown, a lot of our events are being scrubbed because we cannot get the approval through the FAA to occupy the airspace at the time. So hopefully next year we can get back on track with a lot of our events, and and we can coordinate that, and I can have John share your contact information with me, or vice versa, and we can see if we can get Team Fast Tracks to jump into the event.
Hey, how cool would that be?
That'd be awesome.
How cool would that be if we got Team Fast Tracks to jump in next year's Crush 250, man? That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
It's already got me thinking. So yeah, let's touch base and let's try to coordinate that in 2026. I love the idea.
That's great. Matt was actually supposed to be at the IHRA event in Gallatin, North Carolina, this same weekend. We Safe 22 partnered up with the IHRA. They're offering our Veterans Appreciation Day Saturday, November 8th, down in Gallatin, North Carolina. We'll be on site with Lex June, Nitro Racing, Top Fuel Racing Car, Top Fuel Racing Team race winner in the IHRA, and he is looking to become the one of 2 individuals to qualify for every Outlaw Nitro event this year in the IHRA. So really proud, very, very honored to be teamed up with those guys. But they were supposed to jump in this weekend, and again with the FAA and the shutdown and everything, they're not able to get in there. So I think Matt actually is being pulled somewhere else for something, or did everything get canceled for this weekend?
No, there's still one event going on down in Florida, but with air travel and everything else, I cannot get down there in time. So
It sounds like you're gonna come to my house and you're gonna ride with me Thursday morning down to South Boston, Virginia, and we're gonna have a 3-day weekend with you. Is that what I hear happening? Does Mama say that that's okay, or?
That would definitely be something I would have to talk to Mama about. I mean, granted, I was supposed to be gone already this weekend, so
You were, so you know what? We can use that one. We can use that one.
Yeah, so I'll talk to her, and she might even be listening here. I don't know.
I don't know. My wife doesn't listen to me. Doesn't listen to me talk when I'm not on the air. What makes you think she's going to listen when I'm on the air?
Right.
Mark, thank you for everything that you, the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation, have done to raise the awareness of diversion therapy with our veterans, the support that you've given, the love that you've shown them. I can't wait to come down and actually meet you in person. We'll be on site Thursday all day. And if you need any extra hands, Save 22 is happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John, thank you so much for the partnership. Looking forward to working with you all, and hopefully we can use this as a starting point to build a long-term partnership. So thank you all again. Looking forward to seeing you all this week. And yeah, myself. So let me know if you need anything. Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you again. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, man. Really.
Thanks, Mark.
Much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Whiskey Pete said good morning.
Whiskey Pete. You're on. Hey, man, I'm going to miss your event again this weekend because I got another one going on with Save 22, but you're doing another acoustical jam out in Warren. I think you're going to be this weekend. Yeah, so make sure you get on the socials and check out Whiskey Pete. He's a Marine musician, great guitar player, excellent entertainer, and just an all-around great human being. So make sure you check out Whiskey Pete. So that was Mark Clements, development director for the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation. And, they're not just about one race a year. They do things throughout the year. They partner with Project Healing Waters, Wounded Warrior Foundation, ourselves for a couple events next year. And as he stated, later on this year, we're going to give the opportunity for 2 veterans to go hunting with Ward and Jeb on their property. Just a phenomenal experience. Couldn't be happier. A lot of these things I had no vision of when I started out with Save 22, 9 years, whatever it was. And yeah, just keep showing up, man. I mean, you said it. You wouldn't be on this podcast had you not went to Milan. You wouldn't have been in Milan, Michigan had you not joined up with Team Fast Tracks. You would not be on Team Fast Tracks had you not struggled yourself when you came out and decided to just take a leap of faith and go do something. Again, show up, guys. Keep showing up. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. Yeah. So what's your take on this weekend? What do you think? How you think it's going to go down? 25 veterans are getting access to this thing. 3 of them are getting pace car rides. We get quality time with some really great people. 2 Daytona 500 champions are going to be there. Ward Burton and Michael Waltrip. Michael Waltrip's a big supporter of Mike Harmon, our partner inside of Xfinity. A couple of his drivers have driven for Mike. Mike knows about us and Save 22 and our mission. So it's going to be really, really exciting to just be able to shake hands and talk with Mikey about the mission. So go for it.
It sounds like it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. I'm kind of jealous that I can't be there, but maybe I can be there. I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes.
We're not quite there yet, brother. We're not quite there. Yeah. We haven't asked Mama just yet. Right.
I mean, but to be given an opportunity, just to ride in the pace car. I mean, that alone is a phenomenal opportunity. Because not many people can say that they've gotten to ride around in the pace car and for the starting lineup and for a huge NASCAR race. You asked me earlier how much do I know about NASCAR, and I said I don't know anything about NASCAR. I've never really gotten into the sport. But going to the events with Team Fast Tracks, I'm learning about it, and I'm learning more about the IHRA as well. And so if you don't take a chance, it's automatically going to be a no, and you're not going to have fun. But if you take the chance, you can have fun.
The answer is always no unless you go or you ask.
Right.
Sorry, had to do a little something there. Well, So let's go back to talking about the music. You know, you and I talked before Mark joined us about music and how that's your therapy, and you've always got some music playing. It's funny because I always have some music playing too, but I noticed that the style of music that I play and the lyrics of the music have a definite effect on the memories that get called up, the emotions that get called up, and things like that. And you shared a couple songs with me today that you found on YouTube from independent artists, and they're military veterans. And you know, I've had a unique experience with a songwriter, military veteran, 11 Bravo guy that's an infantryman, who shared a original song with us down at Countersteer. In May, I think we were down there, April or May, maybe March, I don't remember, but we were with the Countersteer organization, Dave Cryer, and those guys put on a great event, dirt bikes, and you learn how to ride a dirt bike around tracks, and they talk, and you ride, and you have fire and pizza, and you know, that bonding time. I almost said bondage. It's not bondage, it's bonding.
What do you got on your mind today?
Hey, my kid moved out a month ago, man. I'm not gonna say anything. So,
so the bedroom got turned into something.
Freudian slip. Sorry, Freudian slip. Music has an impact in a lot of people, and it can be a tool or it can be a detriment. And I wanted to ask you, you know, when I came back, I'll share with you that a lot of my music selection was very hardcore, very I don't want to say negative because I don't think that that's the right tone of the music, but very hard, I guess would be the word. And I find myself now, years later, when I get into that kind of music, it's a completely different emotion than it was when I first came back. And I was curious. Wow. Hey, thanks, Samson. March 22nd. Samson would know because that's the day he blew his knee out trying to be cool, but nobody can prove it because nobody saw it. All we know is he's hurt. So we don't really know what happened to Samson that day. But the music that came out, the words, the lyrics, dark, great word. Thanks, Pete. The darkness of the music, right? It's different now. It's not dark. It's more of a, hey, I was there and I made it through that. And I can get into that music now without feeling the negative, dark emotions of it.
Right.
And tell me what that was like for you. Have you found that in the last 15, 16 years since your incident that your music selection might have changed a little bit and what it does for you?
It hasn't really changed. I've learned, if I'm in a good mood, I'm going to listen to that, that music that makes me hyper and, that makes me want to dance around the living room when my wife and kids are gone, and I just have a good time. But then I have a playlist on my YouTube. It's called the Crying List. And so those days where I'm just, I'm down and, and there's nothing wrong with crying. And so I'll put that music on just to give myself that good cry.
You feel like you got to get rid of something. You got to let something go. Like
you just
I
gotta,
you got to get this out of here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I listen to that, that crying playlist and, and then I just slowly work my way back up to my hyper music. But a lot of the times, I'm listening to the most random stuff, but it's the lyrics that catch me.
Right.
If I can't understand the lyrics, I'm not going to listen to the song, because I have to be able to somehow relate. And so over the summer, I was working on the deck project and I had YouTube music going and I was just playing random things, whatever. And I heard this song and I heard the lyrics, but I couldn't really hear it. And so I'm like, I got to replay that over again. And so I replayed it and the song just automatically, grabbed at my heart. It's called Voices That Never Came Back from Worn Torn. And so I listened to it again. And so then I'm like, holy crap, I really like this, this band. And so I started listening more and more of their music. And I resonated so much with his music that I appreciate it. And, and he's an independent guy. He's a former military guy. And he took his struggles of being in combat situations and turned it into music. So My wife says I have a weird taste in music. You know, I can go from listening to 80s, you know, country to, you know, I'm jamming out the Lindsey Sterling playing on the violin. You know,
Well, yeah, but how do you beat Lindsey Sterling playing on the violin? I mean,
right?
come on, dude.
Yeah, you can. You know, and you know, and she's pretty nice to look at as well. You know, so
Easy on the eyes. Easy on the
yeah,
eyes.
he's on the eyes. You know, but yeah, I mean, music is a huge part of my life. It, you know, my wife knows if she comes in and she hears the, you know, the hard rock, you know, I'm kind of in, I'm in a pissed off mood, you know, but if she comes home and, you know, she hears hip hop music, you know, jamming from the parking lot, um, yeah, she knows I'm in a good mood and everything's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's amazing the power of music, man. It really is.
Crying is cleansing. Absolutely, crying is cleansing.
Crying is cleansing. I've talked about that before. When my dad passed last year, and I admitted that I felt like a scared 7-year-old boy trying to make that decision to put dad on hospice, right? And you got to let him go, and you just feel like you're back in that, man, I pissed off my dad, and what did I do wrong? And am I doing the right thing? And is he going to be okay with it? And, you know, you just, they just came out. I mean, it came out in gallons. I'm not going to lie. I was on the back porch, and it just felt like a faucet coming out of my face. But the feel of the tears was not a dirty, salty, sweaty tear. They felt incredibly clean. They felt very cleansing, I guess is the best way to say it. And I recognized that when it happened, and I allowed myself to say, okay, you got rid of that feeling. Those
Right. The burden lifted off your shoulder.
the burden went away. It got washed away by those tears simply by letting it out. And who I let it out to was my wife. And I think she might have been the only one to understand at that time. But when dad did pass, there were 2 or 3 guys that came up to me at the end who had lost their dad within the last couple of years and said, they told me what was going on in my head, word for word. And I related to them and they related to me. And I think that's what Save 22 offers when we're out, or that's what the veteran offers, the other veteran, right? It's that lived experience and that ability to, I'm not going to say eloquent because neither one of us can be eloquent sometimes. But I think we tell you the truth. And that truth is we went through it and we hurt and it was incredibly painful. But when I was done, I don't like to say but because it negates everything. When we got through it, we were better for it. And we were so scared. I think T-Bone said something about it earlier. The pressure of living life and death every day is less than turning around and facing that demon. I think that's how he said it. I think I screwed that up, but I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say is we talk ourselves out of feeling that emotion because you're a warrior, you're a combat veteran. I've taken a human life. I've saved a human life. I've done all these incredible things. I'm not supposed to feel this emotion. Well, bullshit.
Well, you're right, and that's how the military, you know, teaches us. You know, like you said earlier, suck it up and drive on. You know, yeah, I know how to handle war and I know how to handle, you know, death, but I don't know how to handle the outside world.
Right, I don't. And you and I have talked a little bit about it, that we as veterans and service members are incredibly high performing, incredibly well under pressure, under stress, under chaos. We can make calm out of chaos. And the people around us, when you come out and become a civilian, they're not like that. They're not like that. You have been surrounded for 4, 8, 10, 12, 20, 30 years, whatever you've been in the military doing these things. And you're surrounded by people that are just like you. And when you come out, you're not surrounded by that anymore. You're surrounded by civilians. Some people have never left their town. Some people think the only thing that they can do is this job. They can't improve themselves. They are afraid of failing. They avoid situations because it makes them uncomfortable, and they're very comfortable with their singularity of life, right? And so many of us have seen so much that others haven't seen, that we know what it takes to get through all these things. And my experience was I'll just say it, dumb myself down to the civilian population, and not necessarily in an ignorant way, but to stop trying to achieve so much in such a short amount of time. And I was
Right.
trying to be something that I wasn't. Instead of taking what I had learned in the military and the experiences of the military and government service and travel and all those things, instead of taking what I learned, which is plan, prepare, and execute, I got away from that. And I had to relearn it again, and we are 10 years since my retirement, and I'm still learning, right? I think we have to be more open-minded to learn every day about ourselves and how we can eliminate the things that we don't like about ourselves. Nobody's going to do it for us,
Right.
right?
And just
And
like T-Bone just said, out of our brokenness comes rebuild. From the ashes we rise.
absolutely.
So you have to kind of break yourself down to build yourself back up to become a better human being.
Absolutely.
And that's the struggle that us veterans, and not just veterans, but first responders, face as well. Because we're dealing with so much shit on a daily basis.
Right.
It comes to that point where we have to break ourselves down and rebuild.
Yeah. Speaking of first responders, you chose to go back to school and become is it EMT, paramedic, firefighter? Paramedic. You chose to go back to school and get your paramedics certification and license, and
Yep.
you're a licensed paramedic up there in New York. So you still get that life and death situation. You still have that phone call ringing. You still get
Yep.
that bell. Have you been able, or how have you been able to acclimate back at home? I got to meet your wife Saturday, and you guys have been married 15 years.
Yep.
You have a child, two, right? Two.
Yep.
And they're young, they still go to school. You have sporting events.
Yep.
You're a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. You served in one of the bloodiest battles in Cobb Keating, and now you have to be a dad, and now you have to be a husband, and still be able to perform on still be able to perform your life and death situations. What's that transition been like for you?
At first it was a challenge, because I got sick of working in the factory life. I was sick of the monotony of going in and doing the same thing day in, day out. And I was working nights, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And those were miserable hours. Nobody should ever have to work those hours unless you enjoy them. But if you enjoy them, there's something wrong with you, I think. But anyways, that's beside the fact. So I made the career decision that I was going to become a full-time EMT. And so when I left, I was an EMT serving under a paramedic. And then I'm like, I want to be that paramedic. It's kind of like being that squad leader. You're that specialist as an EMT, and you want to be that squad leader. So you want to, achieve your E5, your E6. And so that's what I did. The biggest challenge for me, John, was when I left working near Syracuse, the city of Syracuse, and I started working for the agency that's right here in my hometown. That's been the biggest challenge for me. 2 weeks ago, I worked a full arrest, and I didn't know the individual, but I had a family member that said, "Matt, save my dad," and I just looked up and it's somebody I knew. And so working this close to home, and this arrest was my third arrest of somebody that I've known. It puts the pressure on me that just a little bit more. I still give 110%, even if I don't know the family, because I'm there doing my job, and I want to have that positive outcome. But to have a family member that I know being there and kind of looking at me to be the savior, it definitely brings a whole nother aspect of a challenge to my job.
Well, now we want to
yeah,
know, did the 3 arrests live? Did they make it?
no,
Man, I'm
no.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
You know,
sorry.
and well, so my very first arrest, we were able to get ROSC, which is return of spontaneous circulation, back on her, and she held on long enough that her family could come say their goodbyes.
Okay.
You know, she wasn't awake. You know, obviously, and she obviously didn't know that they were by her side. But you know, I didn't have to terminate the arrest at the house. You know, but the last two, you know, they were pronounced dead. You know, by me. You know, so that brings you know a whole nother challenge to me. And but I have to tell myself work is work and play is play. And
Yeah.
so what I do at work stays at work. You know, and I have my key partners that I can talk to about the shitty calls and stuff like that. My chain of command that my work is phenomenal. You know, so I'm able to leave work at work and try not to bring work home.
Do you have a routine, a ritual, or anything like that before you pull in to the house to set your mind up for, hey, I'm coming into the house. I'm dad. I'm not paramedic. I'm not Sergeant Miller. It's time to be dad. Do you have anything?
No, luckily for me, you know, because I work till midnight each of my nights that I work, and so when I come home, everybody's in bed. You know, and so I try to get my 5 or 6 hours of sleep before I have to get up with the kids. You know, and so every day it starts out as a new day. You know, there's been a few times where I've had very crappy calls and work's like, you know what, take the rest of the night off, go home, spend time with your family. You know, that's where it makes it a little bit more challenging as well, because I don't have that time to kind of decompress and think
Yeah.
about what
Yeah.
what I went through. Um, you know, it was 2023, February of 2023. I had a newborn peds arrest, you know, at home delivery, and
Mm.
you know, and the baby stopped breathing. You know, so that was a challenge for me because I immediately thought about my kids. You know, and
Right.
so the second that you make it personal, that's when it's going to be very hard for you or I to separate the issue. So for me, like when I work a full arrest, I quickly I look at their eyes, you know, to see what their pupils are looking like. Are they blowing? Are they pinpoint? You know, to kind of see if maybe it's a drug overdose or something. But after that, I don't really ever make eye contact with that person because my thought process is if I continue to stare into that person's eyes, I'm looking into their soul. You know, and so that's my way of saying I'm not going to become emotionally attached to this patient.
I think it's
Because
necessary. I think it's necessary. I think you have to make that separation, right?
correct.
You have to know that I got to do this because I'm the only one. You know, you and I. Hey, Eddie, thanks for the hello. You know, T-Bone just said work stays at work. Famous last words. He's
Yeah.
right. They are famous last words. But what I also heard from you is that you have a great team around you at work. That when you do have those especially difficult calls, you do
Mm-hmm.
have someone that you can debrief with. You do
Yep.
have a chill out time, a after action report that can be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hardest ones are, like you said, when you get sent home and the shift's not over and the kids are awake or the wife's awake and you don't need that. They don't need to see that side right
Right.
now, right?
Yep.
They're children. They're your wife. They're not put
Mm-hmm.
in that situation. And many of us are struggle with the fact that they will never know what you did,
Right.
right? They will never know. They will never
Yeah.
know
After
the
this
most.
last arrest that I worked, you know, I immediately texted my wife and I said, you know, it sucks working a full arrest of people that you know. But it also, in the same, you know, side of it, you know, I think it brings them a lot of not happiness. What's the word I'm looking for? But
understanding, compassion,
understanding, compassion, that
empathy.
they know me and they know that I'm giving 110%.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
I distinctly remember Trisha yelling at me one time to say, "Would you just tell me the truth?" Right? Just tell me the truth. And I wasn't lying to her. I just wasn't telling her all the truth.
All of it. Right.
All of it. Because you don't need to hear that. Right?
Yeah.
You don't need to hear that. So what I had to do was learn what parts of it I could share with her or I should share with her. And the rest of it goes to my bros. Right? The rest of it goes to those 3 a.m. friends that have been there, that do answer the call, that have been in the same situations, that I had a flashback a couple years ago and I didn't know what was happening. I'd never had a flashback before. And I'm sitting in a hot tub, I'm watching Maverick, Top Gun. And the next thing you know, I'm right back in a Islamic shithole that I spent about 47 minutes in. And it was a difficult situation for me. And I didn't know what was happening. And I immediately blew up at her because of what she said. And what she said was, "I know how you feel." No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And I went off, and then I had to leave. I didn't leave. I left the area, right on the back porch, the hot tub's there. I came in the house and I'm pacing around the basement. Like what's happening? What's happening? I felt like a roller coaster of bouncy balls inside my head. And I started picking up the phone, and first guy didn't answer. Second guy didn't answer. Third guy did answer. And I spouted off to him, and it was Rocket. Rocket, if you're listening, bro, thank you for answering that phone call. And thank you for what you said next, which is, I have no idea what you're going through. I've never experienced one, but keep talking. So I kept talking, and then the phone rang, and it was the first guy that I wanted to call, the one I really wanted to talk to. And I got to him, and he just calmed me down. Where are you? What are you doing? Okay, what happened? All right, here's what I hear. Here's what I think. Let me talk you through this, right? So we spent about 20, 25 minutes on the phone, and I'm crying, he's crying. And the next thing he says is, "We're through it. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, this is how you're going to feel. Now I want you to go out and hug your wife. Tell her that you're sorry that she saw that, not that you're sorry it happened," right? It had to happen for me to get through it. I think I'm through it. I'm sorry you had to be here for that. I've talked to Al. I'm okay now, right? So that was the whole experience. Might have been an hour long, maybe. But in that hour, I experienced the flashback. I experienced the healing. I experienced the terror. I experienced the anxiety, the depression, the finality of it. And then I processed it. And I processed it by talking to somebody and being 100% honest about what I was feeling. And if I didn't know what I was feeling, I said, "I don't know what this is. I don't know. So can you help me?" "Yeah, man, I'll help you." And the first guy did exactly what he needed to do, which was, "I don't have the answers for this, but keep talking. Just keep talking to me. Maybe I'll be able to figure it out." Get your stuff out. Get that garble that's going on inside of your head. Just spit it out, because when you spit it out, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to justify what you're thinking, or you're going to find out that what you're thinking, when it comes out real, is not real. Right. And the brain will lie to you. You know this. The brain will lie to you about what's actually happening. It'll make it up. It'll make it up, and it'll force you into some stuff that you don't want to be doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had to fire a couple physical therapy, or not physical therapists, some therapy therapists, because they've said I can relate, and it didn't turn out pretty for them.
No.
So I think that's definitely the worst phrase that you could ever say to anybody is "I can relate." Until you truly know what's going on in their head, I don't know if I can relate or not.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's spend some time together and let's find out.
But like you said, I'll either tell you you're full of shit, or you're
you're right.
Emotions are right. So
yeah, You are justified. You are validated. Now, what are we going to do about it? That's the next question.
Drink.
Yep, you're valid. Great point. Great emotions. Yep. Now what? What do you mean now what? I mean, now what?
Right.
You identified what was going on. You know what the fix is. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep talking about it, or are you going to keep bringing it up? I can't do that one. I can't read that one, that comment. That's from Trish.
I don't see a comment. The last one I see is from
Trisha says sometimes your spouse needs to see that and support you through it. I don't want her to see that. That's the part.
That must have came to you privately.
No, it's on the Safe 22 YouTube. But that's where I beat myself up, right? That I let her see those things, right? And I think that's where a lot of us do it, right? I don't want my kids to see this. I don't want my wife to see this, and I let it happen. So we beat ourselves up over it. And we don't give ourselves grace or understanding that, bro, you're human. And there ain't nobody in this world been this far before. Nobody in this world has ever been to November 4th at whatever time it is, 11:15 before. Right. We're all getting here at the same time. Yep. We're all learning, some at different paces, some at different rates. Some refuse to learn. Some think they know everything. I was one of those guys. I thought I knew it all. I could handle it all. Yeah, I don't know shit.
Yeah, I mean, like Stacy had no idea what I went through, and it wasn't until the book and the movie came out that she kind of gathered, what I truly went through, because I never shared the story.
And I want to be clear too. The people that weren't there that we tell the stories to, they're going to make their time. They're going to make their experience of that story that you're telling 1,000 times worse than it actually was. That's the way their brain is. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense? Because I could tell you, I'm flying over Pakistan on Christmas Eve. I had an uncontrolled vibration. I had to shut down an engine. I landed on 3 engines in Kandahar on Christmas Eve, spent the night and flew home the next day. Meant nothing. It was easy for me. Why was it easy for me? Because I spent over a year in school. I had 1,000 hours flying in that airplane. I knew what that airplane could do. I made it as safe as possible on 3 engines, and we made it home. Some people would be on that airplane going, holy shit, we just lost an engine. What's going to happen? And they'll be freaking out and panicking. But I'm the one that had the experience. I'm the one that had the schooling. I'm the one that had the training. I knew what I was supposed to do, and I did it. And we all made it. We were a crew aircraft, a crew airplane, and we did it together. Not the way I wanted to do it. The pilot got in a little bit of trouble for the way that he did it, but we did it. And they're not going to understand. They're going to make it worse, right? You can tell everybody around that, yeah, I got blown up by an RPG, but I never felt it. And, I'm going to laugh because I know what you're talking about. It's that fast. I heard it. I didn't feel anything. And the other people are like, oh my God, an RPG. I can't even imagine an RPG exploding up, let alone hearing it and knowing that it's coming at me. And that they take it differently, right? They take that experience of what you tell them differently. So go ahead. I kind of interrupted you there, but Trisha,
and I'm just saying, us veterans, first responders, we tell the story that we want people to hear.
Yeah, right.
Kind of like what you were saying earlier. You weren't lying, but you didn't go full in depth into what truly transpired, and that is our way of protecting our family and our friends.
Right.
Yes, our family needs to know what's going on with us mentally and physically, but we feel we have to protect them.
Yeah.
And by not telling the full story changes.
Yeah. Whiskey Pete says, go in knowing you will slip and let our loved ones see us at our worst. It's going to happen, and we should accept that. I'll agree and disagree on that one, Pete. Some people would use that as an excuse to continue that type of behavior. and I won't. I won't use that as an excuse. You can only say, "Hey, babe, I got hurt at the gym," so long as I cannot make this work today for some reason, guys. I'm really sorry. Katie said, I know I've learned different ways to help my husband through some of these experiences. And I think that's it, right? It is a partnership. It is a commitment. It is, you're the one I'm leaning on. And, you know, Katie and Hutch are young and they've got 2 kids. And, you know, I've seen Hutch grow from this wild animalistic Marine to a dad and a husband, and his kids are amazing and he's great. And, you know, we still struggle. We still have things, and he still calls once or twice a week just to shoot the shit. And I think you need that kind of stuff, right? You need that outlet of whatever it is, right? And we're not in combat anymore. We're not over there anymore. And we fight what's happening as a civilian. And we don't know who to talk to. And we can't throw hands because we don't want to go to jail. We don't want to do those types of things. And we want to change certain things about us, right? So don't use your traumas as an excuse to continue bad behavior, right? You have to move on. Because you got to suck it up, fool. Yeah. Well, that's an operator talking over there with T-Bone. So a little bit different mentality, right? A little bit different ideal, but same concept, right? Feel it, accept it, and then suck it up and go on, because you can't do anything. It's in the past. It's not going to change. The only thing that you can change is your perception or how you relate to that experience. And what are you going to do with it? So yeah, kudos to everybody for listening. Thanks for being on today, guys. We've been on for about an hour and 20 minutes. Matt, what'd you think of your first experience, my friend?
This is fun. You know, we'll continue it. Like you said, my traveling days have come to an end, unfortunately. You know, but I got all winter. So yeah, have me back on if you want.
Oh, I absolutely will. We're going to have Matt back on to co-host. We're going to get him spun up on his interviewing skills, and we're going to let him go out and find some people that he wants to interview and talk to. So,
yep, that's what I was getting ready to say. You know, I'll work some of my connections and see if I can get a couple of guys on. There's one that I would love to get on, another Air Force veteran from Vietnam. He's just recovering from 2 open heart surgeries, so wow. I don't know if he's going to be filling up to it or not, but his story is phenomenal. Operation Baby Lift out of Vietnam.
Yeah. Wow. It's been a long time since I heard that one.
Where the plane crashed, he was the crew chief on that. You know, so get him in and talk about his story. And, you know, I got a couple others that come to my mind, and, you know, see if we can make it happen.
Man, I appreciate you being on today. Thank you for your commitment to making yourself better, right? And still serving the community as a local paramedic, and that's a big deal. I never thought about being a paramedic in your hometown, right? I think that's why a lot of guys, I know a lot of cops and paramedics that don't work in the town they live in, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to be part of it. And that's okay, right? We need everybody everywhere. And I think it takes a special human being to be that first responder in the town that you live in. So thank you for that. It takes a special human being, and I hope you can accept that.
Yep. We do.
Awesome. Great. So what else we want to talk about real quick before we go? Oh, I'm going to be at a veteran luncheon at the Sam Center November 14th here in Canal Fulton. Sam Center is a phenomenal organization dedicated to serving area military, veteran, and families here in, I think it's 5 counties in Ohio. And they're doing a appreciation lunch on Friday, November 14th at the Sam Center in Canal Fulton. And I'm going to be attending that. So that's going to be pretty cool. And we're also going to start this partnership. I'm going to talk with the Sam Center next week, where Safe 22 is going to be on site. I will be on site at some of their therapy sessions. They're offering guitar therapy. We talked about music being a great therapy session. They're doing starting in January, back classes, beginner, intermediate, and expert level classes for guitar therapy starting at 5 o'clock. Dates to follow here shortly. But I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be participating as a veteran, as a therapy receiver, and be there on behalf of Safe 22. So that's going to be really, really cool. Can't wait to hash out the details with Jody next week. So keep on the lookout for that. On November 21st, we're going to be over at Ohio Means Jobs off of 30th Street in Canton. They're having a Veterans Resource Fair. They've asked us to join them. It'll be inside, not outside. So November weather in Ohio doesn't have too much of an effect on us. So look for that. And what else do we have? Well, Tuesday Talk's going to be on Veterans Day next week. So I think it's going to be pretty amazing. We'll have the recap of the events at the Crush 250, some experiences with Ward Burton, Jeb Burton, all those guys. Hopefully, maybe I can get Andy on, who's coming down with me. Maybe he'll talk. He does have a full-time job, so I don't know if we'll be able to talk to him. Albert and the rest of the crew are going to be down at the IHRA in Dunn, North Carolina for the season finale of the IHRA Nitro Outlaw Series. Lex is going to make an attempt to be the only two-time winner in the IHRA this year, so that's going to be really cool. Kind of sad I'm missing out on that one. But really excited. I'm going to be over there in South Boston with those guys. Carson Brown Motorsports, boy, what a weekend for him. Carson Brown got a second place finish in the ARCA series down at Phoenix this weekend at the season finale with Pinnacle Racing Group. And thank you to Pinnacle Racing Group, Ebb Logistics, Pay Cafe, and Carson Brown Motorsports for running the Safe 22 logo on the bumper of that car. Thank you very much, everybody. We would not be half of where we are if it hadn't been for your partners like you. So thank you for the awareness. Thank you for always thinking of us. And congratulations to Carson on a P2 finish, man. He was 9th in practice, 4th in qualifying, and ended up keeping the car together and ran 2nd to 4th for the entire 100 laps. So great job, Carson. Really excited for what's going to happen with you in 2026 and see where your career progresses. So thank you for taking Safe 22 along for the ride on that one. That's about all I got. We want to talk at all about you want to talk about Saturday and how that went down for you?
Well, I mean, I thought we were ending, so I mean,
yeah, we can end. I don't mind. I mean, if you want to keep talking, we'll talk, or we'll bring it back. He's not going to talk about himself. So I'm going to do it.
I got it. And we can discuss it in more detail later. But this weekend was truly magical for me. I got to hug a man that I haven't seen in over 16 years. This man orchestrated taking the bitch back. This man, is probably one of the reasons why I am home where I am today. Because the thought seriously crossed my mind that I wasn't getting out of Afghanistan alive. But this past weekend, I got to give Clinton Romeshay, Medal of Honor recipient, a hug. Him and I, talked. I introduced myself, and he's like, "Holy shit!" And so I got to talk to Clint, and then I got to meet another guy that was at Cop Keating. Obviously, I had no idea who he was because I was only there for 48 hours. And I didn't get to meet everybody. So Zachary Copes, he told me they all thought I died.
Yeah.
They didn't know where I went, what happened to me. And so he wanted to take a picture of me. And so him and I took a picture, and he sent it to the group chat that he's a part of. And it said, Sergeant Miller is alive and well. So over the weekend, I got to see, meet 7 Medal of Honor recipients, one in particular, Clint Romeshay. And I got to talk to Zachary Copes that was, there on that dreadful day with me. And so that gave me more of a sense of purpose to continue fighting my fight, because I wasn't forgotten about like how I thought I was. Apparently these guys have been talking about me, since, October 3rd, 2009. Just didn't know where I was. So, we're going to continue building on that brotherhood and that, the brothership, and, we'll make it a better year for next year.
Yeah. So that was kind of dumbed down a little bit. I'm gonna make you feel a little some sort of way. Clint, like he said, is a Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Cop Keating, and Clint hopped up there on short notice to be the keynote speaker for Patriot Project. Dr. Tim Novelli called him and said, "Hey man, we lost our keynote speaker. He's ill. He can't make it. Can you jump in and do this?" And Clint was like, "Absolutely, sure." Just like every good service member, "Yes, I'll do it." And he didn't know what he was going to talk about. And I'd really like to find a recording of that, because the introduction or his opening remarks were really powerful to me. I squirted some tears on that one. Clint talked about being out smoking a cigarette after lunch at the hotel and in the sunlight and looking over and seeing this figure come toward him. And he was kind of taken aback. And he realized that it was Matt. And like he said, he hadn't seen Matt in 16 years. And I cannot imagine the influx of emotions for both of you when that happened, even though I've been telling you for a couple months, "Hey, Clint's going to be here. Clint's going to be here. Clint's going to be here." You had to work it all up in your head. And that meeting had to be a very emotional scene right away. And when Clint got up there and said he had no idea what he was going to talk about this evening when he started his deal, and he said, "And then I saw Matt, and I knew exactly what I was going to talk about." And he talked about Matt's commitment to the unit, even though he'd only been there 48 hours. And what happened in that battle, they got overrun, and they do what's called an return to the Alamo. And that brings everybody back to a central location, and they're going to make their last stand. And Clint decided we're going to take this bitch back. And he ran over to Red Platoon Barracks, where about 5 guys had been connected, waiting on orders to what to do. And Clint came in and said, "I need volunteers." And one of the first ones to stand up was Matt. And Matt had only been there 48 hours. And Clint told him, "Bro, this is all volunteer. You ain't got to go." And Matt said, "Yep, let's go." And that meant a lot to Clint, and it inspired him to talk on Saturday night. And I'm honored to just be in your presence when I get to be around you, and the things that you have done, the people that you have influenced, the people that you have not even known that you impacted, and you've impacted. You impacted a lot of people around me. You impacted a lot of people just from Clint telling your story on Saturday night. I hope you remember that for a very long time.
I will. And I was at the table.
You never questioned it.
And I was sitting at the table, and I was, it was me and my wife and a handful of strangers, but we all got talking and everything. And so I kind of gave him a little synopsis of, the Battle of Cop Keating. And, and I told him I was there with Clint, and, I did what I had to do to come home. And so after Clint's speech, and I got up and I went over and I gave Clint a big hug, because obviously I had no idea he was going to, talk about me for, 15, 20 minutes. So I gave him a big hug, and I sat back down at my table, and the 5 other people that were at the table was like, "You didn't tell us that part of the story." And,
right.
And they were talking about, where I was one of 5 that volunteered. And I said, if I talk about that, it sounds like I'm exaggerating, my service,
right.
And so to hear it come out of Clint Romachey's mouth, and to hear it come from Zachary Copes, that just, it was a gut punch that I needed. And I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm so glad that I convinced my wife to go spend our 15-year anniversary at the Patriot Ball. So yeah, it was a phenomenal event, and it gave me a renewed sense of purpose.
Absolutely. I think you hit it on the head when you said it was a gut punch when you heard it from somebody else about the things that you did. And right. I don't think we realized the things that we did, right? We don't know the impact that we had. We don't see it, right? It's just because that's not who we are, right? It's just not. And you are definitely not an ego-seeking individual. You're not a praise-seeking individual whatsoever. And your humility knows no bounds. Because I came up to you and I said, "Oh, you were just at Cop Keating, huh?" Yeah, right. All right. Thanks, buddy.
I was at Cop Keating.
I was just there. I was just there. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I was just there.
yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad it was. I'm glad it was as impactful as it was on you personally as it was for everybody that was there. It was really great to see everybody. We got to talk to Shiloh for a little bit. Shiloh Harris.
Shiloh Harris. Yep.
I actually have a call with him later this afternoon, and
Man of Steel.
Michael Jernigan, got to spend some time with Michael Jernigan, who claims that the Jernigans are a scientific fact. We cannot be blown up. That's Mike's claim to fame. That's what he said. He says, I've been blown up 3 times, and in order for a scientific theory to be proven, it has to be done 3 times. Well, I got blown up 3 times and I ain't dead, so I can't be blown up. So I am a scientific fact. And I just thought that was pretty amazing. Got to spend really quality time with Mike. Doc Ballard was there, Mike Thornton, and all the other guys. And I apologize to the ones that I didn't remember their names.
If Doc Novelli hears this, thank you from the bottom of my heart. What your organization does is truly phenomenal. I appreciate you when you come down the Warrior Weekend and offer your chiropractic services to all of us, Purple Heart recipients and Gold Star family members that are there. And, Doc definitely has a huge heart for the military veterans.
Doc does. And I got to be involved with Doc probably 5-6 years ago. I think it was, they were making a movie, and I just rode over with Tim Cinder, the president of Leathernecks in the Canton area. And Tim was giving an interview, and the next thing I know, I'm being called up to give an interview. And why am I giving it? I'm not a Marine. I didn't do these kind of things, and just the opportunities that he's given us veterans to tell our story, to, I don't know, get a little bit of recognition, if you will, and do things that, the normal U.S. citizen doesn't get a chance to go do or see or experience. And we're really grateful. I got to text him and just be like, man, I think that was your best Patriot ball so far. So keep doing what you're doing and keep us involved. And man, we'll do everything we can to support you. So thank you to Tim Novelli and the Patriot Project, and looking forward to 2026. Absolutely. So, yeah, that's about all I got today. What do you think? You want to call it good?
I'm good.
All right. We're going to call it good. Thank you to everyone. Make sure you donate here down below. Shoot me an email right here at TuesdayTalk@safe22.vet. I think I've only ever gotten 1 email. I don't know how that's possible. So, hey, it is what it is. But keep following Safe 22 on all the socials. We've really had an explosion of interest this year. We've been averaging over 100,000 interactions on our website and socials for the last 3 months. It's really incredible, the exposure that we've gotten. So thank you for all that. We couldn't do it without the people that are listening and following and liking and sharing and subscribing. So thank you very much for all that. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all them other socials, man. So thank you very much. Whiskey Pete, thank you, man. Thank you for being here, my friend. Matt, any parting words?
Yep. Tomorrow needs you.
Tomorrow does need you. You do matter. And if you are struggling, let's talk. It's right there. Let's just talk. It doesn't have to be about mental health. It doesn't have to be about suicide. It can be about anything. What are you struggling with, man? Let's just have a conversation. So looking forward to it. Really excited for this weekend with all the events we have going on. And we'll see you again on November 11th at 10 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Let's see if we can make this outward transition work. All right. Let's click on this bad boy right here. There it is. And we'll put this up one last time. Click that QR code if you can do it. Take your camera, donate to Save 22 to keep us up and running. Really, really appreciate everything everyone does. And we're going to end that